What's going on YouTube? So over the past few years, Lincoln has been heavily investing in their lineup. And today we're with the latest new SUV. This is the refreshed 2025 Lincoln Aviator, and Lincoln is elevating this model to areas never seen before. So is this a forgotten option that you should be comparing to something like the MDX? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's start things off with our spec dump. Now, the plug-in hybrid model has been eliminated for 2025, so we just have one option. It's a 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine making 400 horsepower. That's going to be paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and our combined fuel economy is coming in at 23 mpg.
Now, the base price for the Aviator in 2025 is around $58,000, and if you're looking to buy this or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to secure the best price. Now, of course, later on, we're going to be showing you what this powertrain is like out on the road. While we're on that drive, we'll be getting things like our official sound level reading, as well as discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood, because Lincoln has changed a lot of elements with the exterior and especially the interior. So up in the front, you'll immediately see changes to this exterior design. Over the past few years, Lincoln has been going to larger and larger grills. This model does also now inherit a significantly larger grille, which extends down closer to the lower fascia. Inside, you're going to find some nice little detailing throughout. You can get slightly different version depending on which trim level, and you can also add a jet appearance package, which will black everything out. I do want to point out that we have the optional logo illumination as well. As we move over to our headlights, these are slightly tweaked for 2025 as well. The new thing is that our DRL kind of extends into the grille, again connecting it to the other Lincoln products. These are projector pixel LEDs. This is an optional feature on the Aviator, although you will have standard LEDs, of course. And then walking around to the back, it continues to have a very athletic looking appearance.
Yeah, I really like the way the Aviator looks. It has that premium and classy appearance. Now, as far as some of the design elements, they haven't really changed much back here. So we do have a spoiler and integrated wiper underneath. We have full-length LED taillights that have kind of a nice slender design to them. As you can see, every single element in the taillight unit is LED. You have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, and amber turn signal indicator. As we drop down to the lower fascia, this is going to be quite nice because we have a mixture of chrome, and we also have quad exhaust outlets. I think that really sets off the overall design. As far as towing, it comes in at 5,000 pounds.
Now moving on to our wheels, you've got choices between 20 and 22-inch alloys. This is the largest size. This is a 22-inch alloy with the contrast multi-spoke design, as you can see. I really like the way these look. They really set off this overall sporty design. You have a little bit of cladding that goes around the wheel arches as well as the lower part of the body. Aviator branding is up here in the fender. And as far as our mirrors, we've got a nice gloss black finish. These are fully loaded as well, so you have heating, blind spot monitoring, power folding, and auto dimming on the driver's side.
Now here at the side, the Aviator comes in at about 199 inches long, which is right on par with something like an Acura MDX. Now, one thing the MDX can't get is a black roof. You can get that on the black label version of this Aviator. Now, when it comes to safety systems, I'm happy to also tell you that Lincoln is including every single one of those as standard equipment, so I'll even include things like adaptive cruise control. Additionally, you're going to get Lincoln's Blue Cruise system free for 4-year trial. So that's a hands-free highway driving system. It's actually quite advanced, more advanced than what you'd find in an MDX. But guys, there's quite a few changes to the inside, and it's very luxurious. So let's dive into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12 and 16. We started young, and since then, we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point. No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now let's check out the interior. First, here's the key fob. Typical Ford and Lincoln key fob. Does have standard smart entry as well as remote start, of course. And to get inside, this door handle continues to be an electronic door handle, so it doesn't actually move itself. There's a little pad behind it. When you grab that, it'll open up the door. All right, taking a look inside the interior, you got some animations kind of flash across the displays there, and we've got a new interior look. But before we get into each individual detail, let's start by talking about the seats. So as far as what this model has, we've got the premium leather. So this is going to be a higher grade than what is standard. It does have a nice smooth feel to it. You've got several different color choices you can choose from as well. As you can see, this is kind of a rich brownish color, which is quite nice overall. The really nice thing though about Lincolns is that you have really almost infinite adjustability. So over here on the door trim, you'll see that since we have the available perfect position seats, we have 30 different ways we can adjust. They're not all on the door trim. You actually do some of them in the display, but tons and tons of customizability. Of course, you have memory seats as well, and you have massage, which is packaged with that perfect position seat. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Closing up the door here, let's look at the overall cabin materials. So over here on the door trim, we've got the leatherette covering with stitching detail. You have a black kind of leatherette or soft touch plastic material with the stitching and detail, and some piano black. Really nice metal speaker grills all throughout the cabin. As we go to the upper dash, we have some soft touch plastic. Some beautiful open pore wood runs through the center section, along with some more leatherette, some piano black trim, and you'll see some more of those high quality materials down here with the wood and aluminum trim. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start, located right here. So normally this does have a special kind of orchestra sound effect when it starts up. I have no idea why it just played the Ford sound effect. Let's see if we can actually... There we go. Now we have the Lincoln startup chime. That's super weird that it just played the Ford sound effect just for a second there. Now that it's started up, let's go ahead and take a look at our gauge cluster first of all. We've got a new digital gauge cluster. This is a 12.4-inch display. It does have those really classy Lincoln graphics that are very simplistic and nice looking. You additionally have a very large head-up display. So we were both just talking about how good this head-up display is. It has tons of information in it, and it is extremely large and extremely crisp. It is an available option. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got a beautiful two-tone steering wheel. We even have the nice leather-covered airbag cover. You've got kind of some toggle controls on the steering wheel, and the wheel itself is power tilt and telescoping with standard heating on all models, as well as rain-sensing wipers. Now, let's get into overall interior storage. Next, I'll pop open our center console. First of all, you'll notice inside it has donuts. We check the volume with donuts because that is our logo. And today, we have a very nice result of 14, so it definitely passes our dozen donut test. There is additional storage as well, so if we slide that back, you'll notice that we have the standard wireless phone charging pad. This is where our cup holders are going to be. And then furthermore, there's a little bit of storage back here, so it's not a full pass-through, but you do have a lot of area where you could stick some loose objects behind that floating area. Now, of course, none of this is dedicated to the shifter because it's kind of up here with the piano-style keys. Obviously, you're just going to press the D for drive. You have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. R is for reverse. When you go into reverse, we've got a 360-degree camera on board. As you can see, got that nice overhead view as well as active trajectory. You can press that button right there, and that will allow you to switch between a few different camera angles. And just press the P right there for park. Now, as we kind of look down below in this panel of wood, one of the things we come to is our volume knob. So this is a really beautiful full metal volume knob, by the way, and it controls a really nice sounding sound system. So we've got today the highest end Revel Ultima 3D sound system, rocking 28 speakers, and let's give that a sample right now. Yeah, definitely like the sound of that sound system. It really fills up the cabin nicely. It's a good balanced sound as well. And I already mentioned just how beautiful these real metal speaker grills are. Okay, so next up, let's kind of zero in on this new display. So this is a 13.2 inch display. It is upsized over what they had previously. However, before I really talk about a lot of things, I do want to mention the kind of one of the maybe elephants of the interior, which is if you're familiar with the Nautilus, this does not get that full panoramic display. So that new Nautilus that just came out about 6 months ago kind of has this big screen that runs all the way from pillar to pillar. That's not going to be an option here on the Aviator. But this is still a large display at 13.2 inches. Climate controls are going to be part of that display. Top spec models come with quad zone automatic climate. You don't have any physical controls. You just make your adjustments right here quite easily. One of the things I do want to point out is that you have standard 3-stage heated and 3-stage ventilated seats, and they are automatic as well. Now, as far as the screen itself, again, it is 13.2 inches. This is using the new digital experience. So this is a big step up from the previous sync system. Overall performance is going to be way snappier. As you can see, everything loads up quite nicely. This does also now come with Google Apps built in. So you'll notice that you have things like Google Maps just built natively right into the system itself, and they are really nice and responsive. And then finally, of course, you do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well, which both are wireless. Up top here, we've got a frameless auto-dimming mirror with universal remotes located up there at the top. And then I'll press that button right there and roll back the sunshade for our panoramic sunroof. This front panel does open up.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the rear seat area in this Aviator, because I think this is an area that shines quite a bit more than something like an Acura MDX, because there's a lot more bougie features. But before we get into those bougie features, let's talk about the space first. So we are going to have a good amount of space, a little over 40 inches of legroom and about 38 inches of headroom. That is going to be more than the Acura MDX. And as far as the seating position, I'm 5'9". Drew is 5'8", and the seat is adjusted to him. We are looking at over 8 inches of additional knee room, and my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. So I'm very comfortable. Also, these seats do slide forward and back a very good distance, and they also recline a decent amount, not a ton, but they do recline quite a bit. Now, I want to point out that captain's chairs are standard equipment actually on every single Aviator, so that does mean that your overall seating capacity is 6, and the center console area is something that I also want to talk about, because you get a mini console as standard equipment. On this Reserve model, we have the optional full console, and what the full console is going to give you is a really nice big storage area right here. You could fit a lot more donuts inside of there. You also have the ability to open and shut the sunroof shade, another little storage cubby, and 2 cup holders right there. That would be perfect for my Stanley water bottle. And it's a really nice bougie feeling rear seat. Now, part of the other reason why it feels bougie is because of the center console area. So we actually do have a screen. So instead of like buttons, we have a nice screen that we can adjust audio. We can also do our own climate. So as you can see, we have second and third row controls because we have the quad zone setup. Additionally, we have this menu, which will allow us to turn on our heated back seats. Those are actually standard equipment. And then if you choose the Reserve, you have the option of getting things like ventilated back seats as well. So I certainly will be turning those off. It's quite cold outside, but it is really nice that you have vented back seats. That's something that the MDX does not have. 2 vents down below that, 2 USB-C ports, and we also have a household style outlet. Now, if you turn over to the door trim, we do also have rear window sunshades. That's included on your higher end examples. The door trim is going to be nicely finished. More of those beautiful metal speaker grills. I absolutely love those. And as far as the door storage, it's going to be a decent amount, but it's not going to be able to fit a Stanley water bottle. But the Aviator is a 3-row SUV, so let's go ahead and dive into the 3rd row area. In order to get back here, they have made it pretty easy. You just locate the button right there. When you push it, it will allow the seat to tilt and slide out of the way. Now let's go ahead and get back into the 3rd row itself and see how good it is. Alrighty, so as far as this 3rd row, Siri, trying to interrupt me there. We are going to have about 29 inches of legroom and about 36 inches of headroom. Now, the thing I really want to talk about, though, is the thigh support. The thigh support is not good in this Aviator. As you can see, I really have almost zero thigh support, so I really wish they had been able to raise these seats up to make them a little bit more comfortable back here. As far as, my feet sliding up underneath the seat, I can do that, so that's pretty nice. And there are only 2 third-row seats, so that, like I said, in the second row means you have 6 passenger seating as tested today, or you can get an optional bench seat to raise that maximum to 7 seating capacity. Now, over on the sides, we have cup holders. We also have vents. But aside from that, you're not really going to have very many features. You do have a couple USB ports. But overall, I'd say this is going to be fit for the in-laws or maybe even kids. It just depends on, how big your in-laws are. In height. Walking up to the tailgate, we do have a hands-free power one, standard equipment. And let's go ahead and dive into the cargo space. Now, this is going to be a pretty good area for the Aviator. About 19 cubic feet is what you can expect behind the third row of seats. That expands up to 42 cubic feet if we fold the seats down, and has a maximum around 78 cubic feet. That's a very good cargo space, and actually, as a matter of fact, if you're curious as to how this ranks among other mid-size 3-row SUVs like this, you can go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, on our website, we have all of the vehicles in this segment, and you can actually sort by the things that matter most to you. So if technology is the most important thing, you can actually see the best mid-size luxury 3 rows when it comes to technology, or if cargo space then you can sort by stuff like that. But back to the Aviator itself, like I said, you have a pretty good amount of cargo capacity. It's going to be a little bit better than MDX. We also have a power folding third row, and that's standard equipment on every single Aviator. We do not have buttons, though, to fold the second row from the cargo area, so I will have to go up there and do it manually. And once I do that, I can get our cargo length, width, and height figures. That's something we do in all of our Car Confections reviews in case you're looking to haul something specifically. From behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, we are looking at 7 feet, 84 inches of cargo length. From behind the second row of seats, you can expect about 46 inches of length. From behind the third row, 20 inches. As far as overall width, that's going to be pretty good, about 47 inches wide. And then height is going to come in at 29 inches. As far as underneath of the floor, we do have actually quite a bit more storage, so I'm definitely happy to see that. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the refreshed Lincoln Aviator. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things. As you can see on the screen right now, we'll also be getting our sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration. Nice.
All right, and that was 60 miles an hour going up a pretty steep incline as well. Yeah, this is certainly very quick. As we talked about with the spec dump, even though we're down to just one powertrain, it is a nice powertrain. It's a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, 400 horsepower, and 415 pound-feet of torque. So those are really nice numbers. They compare favorably to a lot of the competition. Even some of the upgraded competition like the MDX Type S, for example.
Yeah, it's significantly more power and torque than the MDX Type S, which is the performance variant. Also, depending on what you are looking at, a base Q7 is going to have way less power than that. Even the upgraded 6-cylinder Q7 will have less power than that. So to have this engine as standard equipment, I think, is very impressive. That acceleration just showed you how quickly you can get up to speed. It's pretty baffling, honestly, for a vehicle of this size to get up to speed that quickly.
Now, as far as the other aspect of the powertrain, we've got a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's pretty nice and smooth transmission. Of course, you expect that for a Lincoln product to be nice and smooth. It is indeed. It's also good and responsive as well. So you put your foot down, it goes ahead and picks out the right gear pretty quickly.
Yeah, it has a lot to choose from, so it's good that it does it well. Now, as far as how the power is routed to the ground, you have standard rear-wheel drive on most Aviators. If you choose the black label, you do get standard all-wheel drive, and of course all-wheel drive is available, but it's an extra cost on the lower-end models. Now, as far as your fuel economy, let's go ahead and dive into that. The rear drive model is going to be coming in at about 21 mpg combined. If you choose all-wheel drive, that is rated at 20 mpg.
Now, dynamically speaking, this model is of course geared towards luxury driving, and even though it does have a lot of power, it's not particularly sporty per se. I will say the steering has a good feel to it. It does give you a nice response right off center, but the overall body roll is definitely going to be present, and this is far less sporty than an ST version of the Explorer. Now we just went into the sport mode. Everything's going to be dialed up a little bit when you choose that drive mode. One of the things included in that is actually the optional air suspension. So we do have that on today's model since it is pretty well equipped. And that does firm things up to give you a little bit better body control, I have to say, versus what we just experienced back there.
Yeah. And like Drew said, we do have the air suspension. So let's go ahead and toggle back into just the normal drive mode and talk about ride quality. Now, when it comes to ride quality with this Aviator, it is pretty good. So, like he said, a adaptive damper system is actually standard on every model, or you can get the available air suspension. That's going to be standard on Black Label or optional on this Reserve model. And I think it does a good job, especially if you choose a large wheel size like what we have, the 22s on the outside. This is probably a good option to tick off to make sure you have a really good ride quality, because I think it handles it quite nicely. I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable thing in the segment, especially as tested today with the 22s, but I imagine if you got maybe a little bit of a smaller wheel size with the air suspension, you're going to have a really, really good ride.
Yeah, I feel like this is right in line with the MDX Type S.
Alrighty, but let's go ahead and get our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. We have it on fan speed 1, and the rear climate is powered off. .57 decibels is what we are sitting at, is our official Kentucky sound level reading in this refreshed Aviator. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to other mid-size luxury 3-rows. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Now, as far as how that sits compared to some of the competition, that is going to be a little bit on the louder end, but overall I think it definitely seems pretty quiet in here. Really, all of the luxury mid-size 3-rows will be quite quiet. All right, but let's get into our slam dunk and airball, our favorite and least favorite element about the Aviator. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the slam dunk?
So for the slam dunk, we're going to say 2025 improvements. This, of course, was a pretty good refresh where they've enhanced a lot of different things inside and out of the vehicle. One of the things that we debated how we feel about it is specifically not having that panoramic display. For some of you guys, that will be a con, but others, you actually might like this better because this is simpler and easier to understand.
Yeah. On the airball side of things, really the main thing we can figure to complain about is the price. This Aviator is very expensive. As tested today, we're sitting at around $83,000, and if you choose a Black Label, you can get very close to $100,000 with all the options, which is very pricey, very, very, very pricey. Although I do believe you might be able to get some discounts, so just shop around when you're looking to buy one of these. So how much is all this going to cost? Well, we start, like I said at the beginning, around $58,000 for the base Premier trim level with rear drive. The Reserve starts at $67,495. The Black Label goes way up to $87,000. Now, if you're wanting one like what we have today, this is a Reserve with pretty much all the options. So we have an $8,000 Equipment Group 201A, as well as a couple other options, including an air suspension. We additionally have our destination charge of $1,595. So all told, we're sitting at $83,550, which is a pretty expensive price point for the segment. However, do keep in mind, of course, it depends on your local area pricing, but I have seen these actually discounted quite a bit, so keep that in mind as well. Now, if you're curious about warranties, it's actually going to be pretty good. 4-year, 50,000-mile basic warranty, 6-year, 70,000-mile powertrain warranty. Additionally, if you do choose the Black Label, that will actually get you 4 years and 50,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, just not on all the models, though. Now, if you're looking to buy a Lincoln Aviator or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. It can also help dealers to compete on pricing, and we even have a monthly payment tool if you'd like to take advantage of that. A link to that is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Lincoln Aviator's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 38% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 15.6%. Now, it is worth noting that that is one of the very lowest resale value percentages across any vehicle brand, so keep that in mind. It's even going to be a step behind some of the German luxury brands, such as BMW, Mercedes, and is definitely behind brands like Lexus.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture of the reliability. In this regard, Lincoln is rated below average as compared to all other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to wrap up this in-depth review of the refreshed 2025 Lincoln Aviator. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, and you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. I promise you won't want to miss out on that. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.